Let's talk a little bit, to shift the focus a little bit. The way Andrew Berry has kind of managed the salary cap. They've signed a bunch of guys to long-term deals, and they're still $40 million under the cap this year. How impressive is it the way they seem to work around the salary cap?
Yeah, I mean, he really understands how to do this with like guaranteed money and how to lower that salary number. Eventually those bills come due. But also, like, fans are looking at the Rams and they're seeing the Rams just pay everybody. So how do they do that? Well, they're doing the same thing Andrew Berry's doing, right? They're playing around with guaranteed money. They're using loopholes. They're manipulating the cap. I think the one thing to watch is as the cap goes up and as these numbers go up, when does Myles Garrett say, hey, I know you guys paid me and made me the highest paid defensive player a couple years ago. I want to do it again. So let's redo this contract. Amari Cooper is watching wide receivers get paid like crazy. When is he going to say, I want to make $30 million a year too. I'm that good. So I think that's kind of the next evolution here is how is Andrew going to handle, let's say, 2 off-season programs from now when Myles Garrett says, I'm not showing up to minicamp because I want a new contract. And I think he'll handle it just fine. But I think that's sort of the next hurdle for Andrew Berry because he seems to have mastered extending guys and manipulating the cap.
The other thing to keep in mind, the cap continually goes up. Right. It's based on a percentage of revenues. Eventually, there's going to be sports wagering revenue that comes in. That's the next big revenue stream. So you got to like the chances of the Browns front office being able to work through the maze.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, a lot of people talk about that salary cap they have this year, and some fans might wonder, well, why don't they just spend it all, right? What's the point of hanging on to it? Well, in the NFL, you can roll it over. So next year, let's say the cap this is going to be low, but let's say the cap comes in at 200. If the Browns roll over $30 million, they get to play with a $230 million cap. So that's what a lot of really smart teams do. If they have that cap space, they're going to roll it over. It's a hard cap in name only. You can make it a soft cap, and that's sort of what Andrew Berry and the Browns are doing.